All right, let's talk about one of the most epic road trips of all time. And I mean, this was undertaken centuries before the word road trip was even a thing.
But I want you to really think about that for a second. How do you explore a whole continent with no maps, no GPS, no fancy gear? Forget Google Maps, you don't even have a reliable paper map. It sounds basically impossible, right? Well, for the man at the center of our story, that was just his reality.
And yet, this is the kind of thing he got to see. This quote is what made all that struggle worth it. With basically just his own 2 feet, a brilliant mind, and this unstoppable curiosity, he saw a world that really no one had bothered to write down before. And his name was Xu Xiake.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going to rewind the clock, way back, 4 centuries ago to be exact. We're in Ming Dynasty, China. And our story is about this one guy who had a pretty comfortable life lined up for him, but he decided to just walk away from it all. Why? Because he wanted to see the world for himself.
So this is him, Xu Xiake. But you gotta understand, he wasn't just some tourist, you know? This guy was a real-deal geographer, a geologist, a botanist, all rolled into one. He was this incredibly careful observer who believed that the only way to really understand the world was to get out there and experience it, not just read about it in some dusty old book.
And his entire life's work got poured into this amazing collection we now call his travel diaries. And look, this wasn't some Dear Diary, today I saw a pretty mountain kind of journal. No way. This was a serious, systematic mission to document everything. The mountains, the rivers, the caves, even the weather, with an insane level of scientific precision.
Okay, so to really get a feel for what this guy was made of, we're going to zoom in on one specific trip. And trust me, it's one of his most intense and dangerous adventures.
Picture this. It's the middle of a freezing winter. The year is 1616. He's at the base of Mount Huangshan, also known as the Yellow Mountain. Now, this place is famous for its super sharp peaks and sketchy trails. It's a serious climb even today with modern equipment. And Xu Xiake, he decides, yeah, I'm going to climb it now, while it's completely covered in ice.
What's amazing is we know exactly what it was like because he wrote it all down. These are his words, right from the diary. He says the snow was so deep it buried his feet. That snow then froze solid into pure ice. The path was basically gone. It got so treacherous that everyone else with him, they all gave up and turned back, but not him. He kept going, alone.
So you're probably wondering, how in the world did he not just slide right off the mountain? Well, he had this incredibly methodical system. He would jam his walking staff into the ice to carve out a foothold. Then he'd secure his front foot. Then he'd do it all over again just to bring his back foot forward. We're talking about climbing a literal mountain of ice inch by painful inch.
After hours of this just brutal, lonely climb, he made it. He got to the summit. The struggle was over, and the reward for all that effort was waiting for him.
I mean, just try to imagine it. The absolute silence, the biting cold, the pure exhaustion. He's completely alone on top of the world, and everything around him has been transformed by the ice. And what he writes next is just pure poetry. In his diary, he writes down just these 4 characters, Qi Shu Yu Shu. It's such a simple, elegant way to capture such a profound and beautiful moment.
So what does it mean? It translates to trees of jade and jewels. The frost and the ice had coated every single tree branch, turning the whole forest into this glittering, spectacular world. It was like a sculpture garden made of gems. Now that is a payoff. But here's the kicker. That incredible, death-defying climb up Mount Huangshan, that was just one small part of a much, much bigger story. So let's zoom out and really grasp the true scale of his life's work. For more than 30 years, let that sink in for a second. That's how long Xu Xiake was on the road. This wasn't a gap year, this was a lifetime spent exploring, covering thousands upon thousands of miles, almost all of it on foot. And this is what really elevates his work. He wasn't just admiring the view, he was a field scientist. He wrote detailed descriptions of rock formations. He literally walked up rivers to find their true sources. He noted which plants grew at which altitudes. And get this, he even corrected the official maps of the empire because he found mistakes. This was absolutely groundbreaking work for the time.
So why does a 400-year-old journey still matter so much? What did Xu Xiake actually leave behind that we can still learn from today?
Well, in his own time, his diaries were probably seen as the eccentric, personal account of some adventurous rich guy. But today, they're recognized for what they truly are. A foundational text of Chinese geography, packed with priceless, objective scientific data that was recorded centuries ahead of its time.
And I think that's the ultimate takeaway. Xu Xiake's legacy isn't just about the distance he covered, it's about his method. He proved that true discovery doesn't just come from going to new places, but from truly seeing them, observing, questioning, and recording with a deep sense of curiosity.
And that leaves us with a question, doesn't it? In an age where every corner of the globe seems to have been mapped and photographed, his story challenges us to look again. What parts of our own world, from our backyards to faraway places, are still waiting to be truly seen with fresh eyes?